So now we'll see again another the problem related to working capital requirement. These are all the data that are given in the problem. Like cost per unit, raw material cost per unit 400 is given, direct labor 150, overheads 300, then total cost, that is total unit cost is 850. So these are all the data that are given. The additional information given is selling price per unit 1000 is given, then output 52,000 units, which means the company producing 52,000 units per annum. So these are all the additional information that are given, like raw material in stock average 4 weeks, work in progress average 2 weeks, finished goods in stock average 4 weeks, credit allowed by supplier average 4 weeks, and credit allowed to debtors average 8 weeks. And cash at bank is given rupees 50,000. Assume that the product is sustained at an even pace during the 52 weeks of an year. All sales are credit sales. So now, as we have discussed in the previous session, we need to identify what are all the current assets and what are all the current liabilities. So as per this problem, these are all unit cost as well as number of units. From this, the real the data starts. So here, what are the data that are given in the problem? We need to identify what are the current assets and what are the current liabilities. Raw material. Raw material is a current asset. So we need to just mention as current asset. Work in progress and finished goods. These two also current assets. Then credit allowed by supplier. Credit allowed by supplier is nothing but a current liability. Supplier is nothing but the creditor of the company. So this is current liability. The creditors or suppliers are the current liabilities. The next one, credit allowed to debtors. Credit allowed to debtors. Debtors is a current asset. So we know that. The next data is cash. Cash is a current asset because cash in bank, cash at bank is a current asset. So now these are all the data that are given in the problem. So we know that the current assets 1, 2 as well as 3 and 4 and 5. 5 current assets are given in the problem, and only current liability that is given in the problem is suppliers or what do you call it as the creditors of the company. So now this is the data that is given in the problem. So now with this data, we can go ahead with calculation. Okay, we can go ahead with the calculation. Now, as we have seen in the previous sessions, so we need to note down the formulas. Okay, we need to note down the formulas so that we can calculate the what do you call it as the total current assets as well as the total current liabilities. So now, first we'll go ahead with what do you call it as we'll note down all the formulas which we have used in the previous sessions, because we know that the current assets, these are all the current assets and these are all the current liabilities we know as per the previous problem. So we'll note down all the current assets as well as the current liabilities. So now these are all the current assets. So as per the working capital requirement problem is concerned, these are all the current assets. Working capital, how to calculate is current asset minus current liability, and the current assets may be given in the form of cash. Okay, or we can either it may be given in the raw material in stock. The stock can be given under different names. Like it may be given either in the form of raw material in stock, work in progress, or material process in stock, finished goods in stock, then customers or debtors. Then as far as current liability is concerned, they may give in the name of what do you call it as supplier or creditor, or they may give lag in wages, lag in overheads. So these are all the what do you call it as three different most commonly given the current liabilities. So now first we need to find out the current assets value as well as current liability value. So as I have told in the previous sessions, like these are all the things that are given in some values. Rupees is not given. Okay, some data is given in the form of, for example, raw material in stock average 4 weeks is given, but the value is not given. In terms of rupees, it is not given. So we need to identify the value of all these things. The only thing that is given in the form of rupees is cash. So we can use that straight away. So what we can do is we will find out all these values, and so these are all the current assets and current liabilities are normally given in working capital related problems. So now we need to find out what are all the current assets given. So here raw material in stock. We will use raw material in stock is the current asset. The next one is material in process. Material in process is also given. That is in the form of work in progress. Work in progress and material in process, both are same. The next one is finished goods is also given. So the third current asset, what is given is finished goods in stock. Finished goods in stock is given. So this is the third current asset that is given in the problem. Okay. So the next one will be the next current asset. What is given is this is the next current asset. Credit allowed to debtors. The fourth one is credit allowed to debtors. We'll use that as it is. Okay. The next is the next current asset is cash. So cash is given. So we'll just note down the cash. Okay. So the cash value. Then we'll find out the total current assets. Now, after that, current liabilities. So, what are the current liabilities given in the problem? The only current liability that is given is credit allowed by supplier. So, the only current liability that is given is the credit allowed by supplier. That is the only current liability given as far as this problem is concerned. So, we'll note down that alone, the only current liability that is given in the problem. So, we'll find out the value of that particular current liability. Okay. So, the next one will be after finding out the values of all these things, we need to find out the total current liabilities value. Then finally, the working capital requirement. Okay, so this is what we are supposed to do as far as this problem is concerned. So now, before getting into, after identifying the current assets and current liability, the next step will be we need to identify whether all the data is given in the same units or not. For example, raw material and stock is given in average 4 weeks and work in progress 2 weeks, finished goods 4 weeks, then credit allowed by supplier 4 weeks, as well as credit allowed to debtors 8 weeks. So everything is given in weeks, so we can use as it is. So if something is given in a different days or months, then we need to convert that into uniform either weeks or months or days. So now first let us take raw material in stock average 4 weeks. Let us calculate the value of the particular thing. So that is the first will be how many units the company want to produce. We need to note down that the company want to produce around what is the number of units is here. Yes, it's mentioned here 52,000 units. So the number of units, how much they want to produce is 52,000. That should be multiplied with, since it is raw material in stock, raw material cost per unit we are supposed to mention, that is 400. So raw material cost per, cost per unit is 400. And that should be multiplied again with raw material cost per unit. After multiplying that, how many weeks is given? You just see in the problem, 4 weeks is given. So we have to multiply that with the 4, and the whole thing should be divided by total number of weeks in a year. So if it is given in months, we have to divide it by total number of months in a year. If it is given in days, we have to divide with total number of what do you call it as days in a year. So now we need to simplify this to find out the values. So if you find out the values of this one, comes around, so we'll just multiply 52,000 multiplied with 400. That should be again multiplied with 4 divided by 52. The value is 16 lakhs. The value of this one comes around 16 lakhs. The raw material in stock value is 16 lakhs. So now we found out that value. The next thing will be finding out the value of the average material in process. So now what we have to do is we have to use the same procedure here. So just I'll copy and paste here the same thing. So here, what are the things we need to change according to material in process or work in progress is number of units remains same. Here, material in process means here we need to, the unit cost, we need to mention all the 3 unit cost. Then we have to add. So raw material 400, direct labor 150 and overheads 300, because when it is in the state of a raw material, only raw material cost per unit is involved. Whereas when it is in the work in progress, that is almost the work has started, raw material cost is also involved, labor is also involved in the production, and overheads, other costs are also involved. So now we need to include all the 3 unit cost. So 400 plus 150 plus 300. We have to add all the 3 and then we have to multiply. So we'll include here 400. The unit cost, we need to add all the 3. 400 plus 150 plus 300. add all the unit cost, and that should be multiplied with average material in process. How many weeks given? 2 weeks is given. So instead of 4, I'll mention 2 divided by the 52, the same. Now what we can do is, first we will add all the 3, then it should be multiplied with 52,000 and 2. So if you add all the 3, you will be getting around 850. That is already mentioned in the problem also. So now 52,000 should be multiplied with 850. We'll get this value, and that should be multiplied with the 2. We'll get this value, and this should be divided with 52. We'll be getting 17 lakhs. So the value of work in progress is 17 lakhs. So the next step will be finished goods. We have to find out the value of the finished goods. So finished goods, how many weeks is given? 4 weeks is given. So now what we can do is, let me copy the same and paste here. So here the unit cost, the units remains 52,000. Even for the finished goods, we need to add all the 3 unit cost. 400 plus 150 plus 300. And that should be multiplied with finished goods. How many weeks? Just now I have shown you that it's 4 weeks. So instead of 2, I'm just going to multiply this with 4. So definitely it is same. Only thing is it is doubled. Here it is 2, it is 4. Then you will be getting 34 lakhs. Okay, so even you will check here again. So if you add all the 3, you will be getting 850. So 850 should be multiplied with 52,000. And this should be multiplied with the 4. And this should be divided with 52. We'll be getting 34 lakhs. So the value of finished goods in stock is rupees 34 lakhs. Now after this, credit allowed to debtors. The next data is credit allowed to debtors is 8 weeks. Since this is a debtor is nothing but the customers of the company. So now the debtors, is we need to mention selling price per unit. So selling price per unit is 1,000 and the average weeks is 4 weeks. So now what we can do is, for credit allowed to debtors, we'll copy and paste the same first. Now number of units 52,000. Here unit cost, instead of unit cost, we need to mention selling price per unit 1,000 multiplied with credit allowed to debtor is for 8 weeks. Just multiply with 8. Now what is the value we'll be getting is this 52,000 multiplied with 1,000 into 8 is 8,000. Multiply with 8,000. We'll get this value. This should be divided with 52. We'll get 80 lakhs. Credit allowed to debtor is equal to 80 lakhs. Now after this, the next thing will be, so now cash. Cash is already given in the problem as 50,000. We'll mention that cash equal to rupees 50,000. So now all the current assets value we found out. Average raw material in stock 16 plus 17 material in process, 34 lakhs finished goods, then debtors 80 lakhs, then cash. Now the next step will be finding out the total current assets. The total current assets is we will add all the values. So that is 16 lakhs plus 17 lakhs plus 34 lakhs plus 80 lakhs plus 50,000. The value is 1 crore 47 lakh 50,000. Rupees 1 crore 47 lakh 50,000. This is the total current assets that we found out as per this data is concerned. The next will be finding out the current liabilities. So here, as per this problem, the only current liability that is given is the creditors. That is nothing but credit allowed by supplier 4 weeks. So we'll use the same methodology of calculating the value of what you call as a supplier also. Credit allowed to supplier. The number of units is 52,000. Here, since it is a supplier, from the supplier what we buy? Raw material. So raw material cost per unit, how much? 400. That we have to use. And the number of weeks is 4. So we have to use, instead of unit cost, we have to use what do you call it as 400. That is the unit cost of raw material. And that should be multiplied with how many weeks it is given? 4 divided by 52. So when you simplify, you will be getting around 52,000 multiplied with 400, and that should be multiplied with again 4. The whole divided by 52. So that is 16 lakhs. So the credit allowed by supplier is 16 lakhs. So now the only current liability that is given is credit allowed by supplier. We found out the value as 16 lakhs. And the total current liability will be the same thing. The same 16 lakhs will come here. So that is the only current liability that is available in the company. The only current liabilities. Now, as per our formula, we need to find out what is the working capital requirement of the company, which means current asset minus current liability. So the total current asset comes around 1 crore 47 lakh. Just 1 crore 47 lakh 50,000, and that should be subtracted with the total current liability. The total current liability is 16 lakhs. So we will subtract these two. When you subtract these two, it comes around 1 crore 47 lakh 50,000. That should be subtracted with 16 lakhs. The value is 1 crore 31 lakh 50,000. 1 crore 31 lakh 50,000. So this is the working capital requirement of the company as per this data is concerned. Okay, so this is the working capital requirement. So the similar type of problem, if you want to check, we can check with this problem also. Here it's also the same working capital requirement is given. You can check here. Here the management of Royal Industries has called for a statement showing the working capital to finance the level of activity of 1 lakh. Here the number of units is 1,80,000 and unit cost is given. Raw material 20, direct labor 5, then overheads 15 is given. Then profit selling price unit 50 is given. Then now, these are all the data that are given in the problem. So we need to identify what are all the current assets and current liabilities. Cash is a current asset. So we can mention as it is. Raw material in stock average 2 months. So which means raw material in stock again a current asset. Work in progress half a month's production. So which means again a current asset. Then finished goods at an average of 1 month. So that is again a current asset. Then supplier or creditors of a material extend a month's credit. So which means, see here, this two data is given in the, what you call as the same sentence. Supplier creditor is given 1 month credit. So this is nothing but the current liability. Whereas the debtors or customers are provided with 2 months credit. So this is current asset. This is a current asset. So the next data is time lag in payment of wages is 1 month. Again, this is again another current liability. The next, and half a month in case of overhead. This is again a current liability. From the above facts, we are supposed to, what you call as find out or prepare a statement requiring the working capital requirement of the company. So now, you can see here we have identified how many current assets given. The problem is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 current assets are given and 3 current liabilities are given. So as usual, the same procedure we need to follow as we have followed in the previous sessions. So like what we, and one more thing, identify that whether everything is given in the same. For example, this is a month, this is also month. So this is also a month, this is also month. Everything is given in months. So no need to convert anything. What we can do is we can use the same, what you call as formulas which we have used in the previous classes or previous sessions. So here, so now current assets, average first current asset is, we'll go ahead with the current assets. Now cash is 20 lakhs, sorry, 20,000. So here cash we have already mentioned. Cash. First we'll find out, mention the cash value. Here the total cash is 20,000. So 20,000 is given in the problem. That I'm going to use as it is. the total cash. Okay, so the first data cash I have mentioned. Next is raw material in stock 2 months. So which means raw material in stock 2 months I'm going to use. So now what we have to do is, first, as usual, the number of units, how much? 1,80,000. So this 1,80,000 should be multiplied with, if it is a raw material, you need to multiply with raw material cost per unit 20, and that should be multiplied again with what you call it as how many months or weeks given. Raw material 2 months is given. So multiplied with the 2. Since I'm using the months, I'm going to use the total number of months in a year. So which means if you simplify this one, 1,80,000 multiplied with 20 multiplied with 2, the whole divided by 12 comes around 6 lakhs. The total value of raw material in stock is 6 lakh. Okay, so next is the next current asset given is work in progress or material in progress. That is half a month's production. So the same data I'm going to use here. Now to find out the value of what you call it as the raw material in stock or work in progress. Again, the number of units 1,80,000. And here, since it's material in process, the 3 unit costs we need to add. So which means 20 plus 5 plus 15, that comes around 40. So this is what we have to use here. 40. And that should be multiplied with how many months given for work in progress? Half a month. Half a month means 0.5. The whole divided by number of months in a year. So when you simplify this one, you will be getting around 1,80,000 multiplied with 40 multiplied with 0.5 and the whole divided by 12. You'll be getting around 3 lakhs. So that is average material in process. The next current asset given is finished goods in a stock for a month, average of 1 month. So we'll use the same, what is called as a template. Finished goods in stock. The third one is finished goods in stock. The value is, again, the number of units is 1,80,000. Here also for finished goods also, the total, all the 3 costs together we need to add. And here it is given as 1 month because finished goods in the stock is given for an average of 1 month. So now when you divide or multiply and divide these 3, it will be just double of this value alone. So 1,80,000 multiplied with 40 divided by 12. We'll be getting around 6 lakh. So the current assets, finished goods in stock, we found out. The next current asset is this one. The next current asset given is what do you call it? Debtors. Debtors 2 months credit is given, and we'll find out the selling price 50. So we'll use that one. So the next current asset is debtors. So the debtors is, you can see the number of unit is 1,80,000. Can use that one. And the unit cost, selling price per unit is 50. And how many months given is for debtors, it's a 2 months credit. 2 months credit is given. And as profit, selling price per unit is 50. So we'll use the data, 50 selling price per unit. 2 months credit means we can use 2 divided by the 12. So when you just multiply and divide, you will be getting around 1,80,000 multiplied with 50 multiplied with 2 whole divided by 12. Comes around 15 lakh rupees. So the debtor value is 15 lakhs. So now we found out all the current assets value. The total asset will be, by adding all the values, how much we are getting is 6 lakhs plus again 3 lakhs plus the finished goods again 6 lakh plus again another 15 lakhs plus the cash is 20,000. 30 lakh 20,000. The total current asset is rupees 30 lakh 20,000. Now we found out the total current asset value. Then the current liability is, what are the current liabilities given? The supplier or creditor, lag in wages and lag in overheads. So we can use here the credit allowed by suppliers. So here the number of units will be the 1,80,000. The same template we can use here. 1,80,000. Here, since it is a supplier, raw material cost per unit. Raw material cost per unit is 20. And supplier how many months? 1 month credit. So here instead raw material cost per unit is 20, and that should be multiplied with 1 because credit allowed by supplier is 1 month. So we need to find out the value of this one. Comes around 1,80,000 multiplied with 20, the whole divided by 12. That is 3 lakhs. Credit allowed by supplier is 3 lakhs. Next, time lag in payment of wages. Time lag in payment of wages, will copy the same template first. Now, you can see the unit again 1,80,000. Lag in payment of wages, which means wages given to direct labor, that is 5. So 5, cost per unit is 5. And lag in wages for how many? 1 month. So 5 we need to multiply and 1 month. Okay, 1 month. So we need to find out the values of this one. 1,80,000 multiplied with the 5 and the whole divided by 12. That is 75,000. Lag in wages, the value is 75,000. Then lag in overheads, if you want to find out, the same template we can copy here. Lag 80,000. Lag in payment of wages, lag in overheads is 15. The unit cost is 15. And how many months is given? Half a month. So 15 should be multiplied with 0.5. The lag in overheads 15 should be multiplied with 0.5 because half a month. So when you simplify, you will be getting around this value of this one is 1,80,000 be multiplied with 15. This should be multiplied with 0.5. You get 13,50,000. This should be divided with 12. 1,12,500. So now we found out all the current liabilities value. So only the 3 current liabilities as per this particular problem is concerned. So now we'll find out all the total of these 3. So 3 lakh plus 75,000 plus 1,12,500. That is 4,87,500. The total current liability. 4,87,500. So now we found out total current asset as well as total current liabilities value. So the next step will be identifying the working capital requirement of the problem. The total current asset is this value, 30,20,000. The total current asset is 30,20,000 minus the total current liability. The total current liability value is this one, rupees 4,87,500. Okay, then the current asset, the working capital requirement will be subtract these two values, we'll be getting the working capital requirement. That is 30,20,000 subtracted with 4,87,500. 25,32,500. 25,32,500. This is the working capital required to finance for this particular company.